remember one night, I was trying to go to where he was, to be with him. And my brother came, he caught me, getting in the cab. I don't know where I get money from for a cab from, but I got it. And I was on my way, and my brother would not, we fought. I tried to keep him out the cab. He was fighting to get in the cab to stop me.
I'm trying to bring y'all this content. It's time for another reaction video today, and I am on the ball delivering these videos to you guys. So if you are new here, don't forget to like, comment, join the family by subscribing, and if you are returning, let's get straight into today's reaction video.
I was having a conversation with a friend of mine about some things I experienced, I've been through when I was younger. And I was explaining to him the scenario of how I had my first child and how old I was and how everything happened, right? And he posed a question that at 38 years, even at 38, I never even would have thought could be a possible question. The question that he posed to me was, Mel, do you think your mama sold you to that man for drugs? So part one of, did my mama sell me at 14 years old to a man that was 27 years old? Backstory, my mom, was in the street real heavy on drugs. And my mama always had this thing where she, told her kids that you can come and talk to me about anything, whether it's sex, you're interested in a boy, you come talk to me. And so one day me and my mom was walking down the street, and there was a guy from the neighborhood that we grew up in, and I just thought this guy was so handsome, being fast, I guess. And I told my mom, I was like, Mama, I like him. And she's like, oh, I know him. I ain't gonna say his name, but she, I'm gonna say his name was David. And she's like, I know David, a cool dude. And she was like, you want me to say something to him? I was like, nah, Mom, I just want you to know that I think he was cute. Fast forward, me and a couple of my friends was on a basketball court in front of our house playing basketball. And this car, Buick, pulled up, blue Buick mirror tint, and my mom jumped out the car, and she was like, come here. She was like, remember the guy that you said you think was cute? He right here, and he want to talk to you. And I was like, Mama, no, I don't want to talk to him. I just want to let you know I think he was cute. And she's like, come talk to him. So I came, looked in the car, and I thought he looked at it a little bit different, but I really didn't pay it no mind because I was so nervous. I told my friend, I said, come go with me. And my mom was like, no, you don't never bring no female when you going to go talk to a dude. That's how you did have to deal with girls trying to talk to your dude behind your back or vice versa. So I'm like, okay, cool, but I'm still nervous. I got to the car. He was like, hey, they called me Red or whatever. He's like, come, I want you to come ride with me while I go, run an errand. And I was like, well, can my friend ride? My mom was like, didn't I just tell you? I'm like, okay. I went to get in the back seat, and he was like, no, come get in the front seat. Mama told me get in the car with him, and when I got in the car, he was like, I need to go by my mama house to go get some CDs. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm nervous. We really not talking the whole time. And I'm like, okay, what are we supposed to be talking about, right? We pull up to this place that kind of look like apartment complexes. I know what it is now, but back then I didn't even know what it was. So I noticed he went to like a little window first, and I'm like, well, maybe he know the people. I'm green, I don't know nothing, I don't know what's going on. So he pulled up in front of like a door. It was a lot of doors, but he pulled up in front of the door, and he was like, come in. My mama in the house, I want you to meet my mama. You can talk to my mama while I get what I need to get. So I'm like, okay, cool. When I walk in the door behind him, I noticed that it's just a bed and a whole lot of mirrors in here. And I'm like, I ain't never been to an apartment like this. And then like, what a mama at? So before I could go into the threshold of the door, excuse me, something in my body was like, something not right. This is not right. So I was getting ready to go out the door. He's like, nah, come in. He's like, I ain't gonna do nothing, I ain't gonna do nothing to you or whatever. So I'm like, okay, he's like, sit on the bed. I sit on the edge of the bed and I'm sitting there with my, nervous, just looking around, not knowing what to expect. He went in the restroom. He came out the restroom in just his drawers. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, I ain't come here for all this. Like, I ain't ready for all that. And I remember, like, I had on a dress, like a summer dress or something like that. And he pushed me back on the bed, and I'm like leaning, like no, I'm thinking I'm gonna get in trouble, cause 1 minute my mama's like real strict and real stern and whoop you and all this, and then the next minute, but I know when sex, like my mama gonna beat the hell out of me. So I'm like, no, I'm pushing. He telling me like, damn, you must have been a track star. You must be a track star. You must run track cause you running. I'm like, no, cause like I ain't come here for all this. I'm like, where your mama? Like, what's going on? Long story short, he basically took what he wanted, and I got tired of like resisting, to the point to where I'm just like, I just gave in. And so he did what he did or whatever. We left. We went back home. And my homegirl that, I left there, she was still there, and I told her what happened. And because when I noticed when I got home and I went to the restroom, I had like blood or whatever. And I was like, damn, what's wrong? So when I'm explaining her the story, I'm explaining her the scenario, how everything happened, like how everything went on. And she was like, she older than me. She been in the street. She been doing, she know all the things. So when she was giving me advice, I'm like, okay, she know what she talking about. And when I told her that, I seen blood or whatever down there, she was like, oh, that mean he popped your cherry. And I was like, well, what that mean? And she was like, that just mean he like you, And I'm like, okay, well, the damage really already done. So I'm like, okay, that mean he like me. Yeah, so a little while later, as time went on, I'm still not registering what the hell just happened, what was going on. I'm taking my friend's advice, her work, cause she knows she maneuver in the streets. She been out here, so she know when it comes to men. I didn't know much about men. I was still at home, helping my mama raise my sisters and brothers, so I wasn't really into like, boys, and had that type of encounter, especially with a grown man. So once all that happened, like a day or so later, things got pretty interesting. Come back for part 2.
Things got pretty interesting. Like, part 1 is crazy as heck.
Part 2 of did my mama sell me to a 27-year-old when I was 14 for rugs. So a little later after that, my friend telling me that this man liked me. He really liked me because he popped my cherry and all that stuff. Like a few weeks later, I was celebrating my birthday, and my mom made, me and my friends a punch, and this punch had like alcohol and stuff in it, so I was out of my body. He passed by, and he seen me, he stopped, and he was like, when you done, you going with me? So I'm like, okay, cool. At this time, I'm like, the damage I already done, you know, the man like me or whatever, you know, I go with him, go back to the same place he took me to or whatever. But I had been noticing, like, I wasn't feeling good. Like, you know, certain smells made me nauseated. I couldn't eat certain foods, and I'm like, not really paying attention to it. My stomach, I didn't pay attention to the fact of I hadn't seen my cycle. I'm at school one day and my stomach is hurting so bad, like I'm balled over, like please call my mama. I don't know what's going on. My mama sent a friend of the family to come and pick me up and take me to the hospital. I go to the hospital, they check me out, I'm sitting in the room waiting. The lady comes in the room and she's like, well, we found the problem, why you're hurting. And I'm like, okay. And she was like, are any of these your parents? I'm like, no, there's just, you know, a family friend that came and picked me up from school and brought me here. So she was like, well, we found that you are pregnant, but you are pregnant in your tubes. And I'm like, I kind of blanked out from you pregnant. I didn't even really understand the dangers of what they were saying about me being pregnant in my tubes. Cause all I can think about is my mama gonna kill me. Like, I already knew something was gonna. I'm like, this can't be real. When the lady kept asking me, did I understand it? I'm like, no, ma'am, I don't understand, like, what that mean. And she basically explained to me that it's a chance that I could die, you know, if I didn't let them give me like a what is it called, a DNC or something like that. So the whole ride home, I'm like telling the family friend, because he was a little older than me. He was still like a teenager, but he was a little older than me. And I'm like, please, like, don't tell my mama. Like, my mama gonna kill me. Like, please don't tell my mama. And I promise I'm not gonna tell your mama. I'll never tell on you, this, that, and the third. I go to my friend's house and I'm hiding out. Like, I can't go home. Like, I never been able to lie to my mama. I never, like, disrespect my mama, none of that stuff. Like, to know my mama, like, I was scared of my mama. And I stayed out until I couldn't stay out no more, and I had my friends to walk me home. And my friends like, well, he said he not gonna tell, so you don't got nothing to worry about. Like, we'll figure something out. So I'm like, okay, Real, you right, he not gonna tell on me. I hit the corner, the stop sign from my house. My grandma, my mama, my aunties was all outside. Before I could even make it to the front yard, my grandma was going crazy. Like, I got beat with a can of beer and everything, beer everywhere, beer going everywhere. So I'm not even, there was small stuff to a giant. I ain't worried about what my grandma doing. I'm worried about this. My mama, she gonna kill me. So my mama was like, yeah, come up in here, you pregnant. And in my head, I'm like, this man said he wasn't gonna tell nobody. This man then went right and just sold me out, threw me under the bus. So I get in the house with my mama, I'm shaking, I'm looking at her like, damn, like I'm trying to brace for impact. And she was like, shh. She was like, you know, I gotta do all that in front of, you know, my sister and my mama. Just go, you know, go with your friends for the night, spend the night, let stuff cool down. I ain't mad at you. So I'm like, okay, like, something ain't right, but okay, and I'm gonna take the out. So I leave, I go stay with my friends for the night, and the next morning I still was scared to come home. So I'm just walking circles, like, you know, around my grandmother's house, because I'm not ready to face that. Like, I don't know what's, you know, if today my mama gonna feel some type of way. And I must have walked like 4 or 5 times around that house, you know, trying not to go home. And my mama finally she had finally seen me. She came and got me, and she was like, she was like, why you doing it? And I was like, cuz mama, like, I'm scared, like, I don't know what to do, you know, grandma mad at me, and you know, my auntie mad at me. Like, I just feel like everybody just, you know, looking at me like I messed up, you know, and I don't know what to do. And she was like, you don't gotta feel like that. She was like, we'll figure something out. Just come in the house and we'll talk. So I finally came to the house and I'm looking, cause like, you know, I know sometimes like I've seen where especially my aunties, like once they start talking like, oh, I would do this, and if I was you, like, you know, situation can kind of be persuaded to, okay, well, let me go ahead and discipline or whatever. So I didn't know what to expect. I'm nervous, I'm scared. I just found out I was pregnant, and on top of being pregnant, I could possibly die and all this stuff. So I'm like, but I never told nobody about, you know, me being like it was a chance that I can die and the baby was in my tubes, because I was so scared and nervous. The pregnancy was enough, you know. So my mama take me to my auntie house. It's me, my auntie, my grandmother, and my mom. We all in the house just talking, and she's like, well, do he know? And I was like, no, ma'am. You know, she's like, we gonna call him. So we called him, and my mama talked to him. I didn't want to talk to him. I don't know why, but I just didn't want to talk to him. So I let my mama tell him. And I'm not sure what his response was over the phone, how he took it, or you know what all was said. I just remember my mama saying, well, everything gonna be all right. You know, we're gonna take care of it. Come back for part 3.
Now that mama knows she was damn wrong. She knows she was wrong, but then went and told the grandma and auntie and all of this stuff like her daughter was being fucking fast, but she damn sent her daughter over there to that grown ass man. See, that's the stuff that I be talking about. Like, back in the day, them folks had no damn filter. Like, them people that was on that shit, they didn't give no fucks. And now today, that's why we have a lot of people that got so much trauma, because so many things happened to them while they was little. And not only that, some of them parents was involved in doing shit like this. Poor girl. And then for the friend that had a little bit more experience than her to still think just because a guy bust your cherry or do something with you, he like you, was crazy. Like somebody had to tell these girls, but nobody was there to tell these girls, especially her at 14. Her own mama was setting her up with people like she was her friend. That is crazy.
Did my mama sell me to a 27-year-old man when I was 14 for rubs? So backstory, our older brother was 2 years apart, and when he found out about this guy, that he was a grown man, he wasn't going for it. I remember one night, I was trying to go to where he was, you know, to be with him, and my brother came. He caught me, you know, getting in the cab. I don't know where I get money for a cab from, but I got it, and I was on my way. And my brother would not, like, we fought. I tried to keep him out the cab. He was fighting to get in the cab to stop me, and I was like, well, get in, but I'm going where I'm going. And the whole ride there, we fought. And I remember getting there and, you know, getting out the car, and he was like, you're not going in that apartment. Like, we going to fight. I'm going to fight him, and that's going to be the end of that. So I kind of gave in. You know, I'm like, forget it. I'll wait for another time. So my brother wasn't trying to hear that. He was, like, standing on business about that. So fast forward to, my mom had just told him, you know, that I was pregnant, and they discussed the plan and all that. So a couple of days later, he came, you know, picked me up, and we was finna abort mission, literally abort mission. And so we get to this facility, and we wait in the waiting room for a few minutes. They call me and my mama to the back. He never came in, but one time we went to like a consultation. The lady called herself, explained the process to me, and everything that she was saying just sounded like she was speaking a whole nother language. What I did understand was she had about 15 to 18 pills. And she was telling me, when you take this pill is going to dissolve, and this pill is going to help you to this, that, and the third. And so I'm like, okay, all I hear is abort the mission, abort the mission. That's all I'm hearing. So my mom finally break it down to me like, okay, well, you're not going to have to deal with being pregnant no more. And I'm like, okay, I didn't know if that's what I wanted. I didn't know if this, if I didn't want that, I didn't know how to feel. So after they gave us the consultation, they called him in. I seen him like counting out money, and he gave it to them. And once he paid the money, the people, I took all the pills they asked me to take. You told me to take. I changed out into a hospital gown. The lady was like asking me, how do you feel? If you start to feel kind of woozy, let me know. And I'm like, okay. And as I'm sitting there, and they like finalizing paperwork, my mama and the nurses finalizing paperwork, and I'm starting to sway, and I'm like, okay, I feel sleepy. I don't feel woozy. I feel sleepy. And so they tell me, okay, come on, it's almost time. They got me into a room, just one bed in there. It was like a lot of tools and stuff on a table, and I'm laying in this. They left me in the room by myself, and I'm laying in this room on the bed, and I'm steady like falling asleep. But every time I close my eyes, I would hear this very small voice saying, "Don't do it." And I'm looking around in the room, and I'm like, I know ain't nobody in here but me, and I'm trying to ignore what I'm hearing, because now I feel like I'm tripping. I'm in here finna lose my mind. What's going on? The second time I went to close my eyes to nod off, I heard that voice again say, "Don't do it." So by this time I set up, and I'm looking around like, is it like, a TV or something on? Or I didn't know what was going on. So I just kind of ignored it again, but I'm still feeling a little like something going on. So I went to doze off again, and this time the voice never changed its tone, but it was like the authority, or the need to say, like, I mean what I'm saying, like, don't do it. After that third time, I was like, oh, hell nah. I jumped up, and I went to run out the door, and as I, ran out the door, I bumped into my mama. And she was like, "What's wrong, baby?" And I was like, "Mama," I can't do it. And the nurse was like, "Oh, no, it's okay. It's just the medicine, just, take her back in there and let her lay down." And I was like, "Mama, no, I can't do it, Mama. I'm not doing it. I'm keeping my baby. Like, I can't do this." And my mama looked at the nurse. She looked at me, and she was like, "Well, she said she don't want to do it, so I guess that's just what it is." And the nurse was just like, instead of trying to tell her, like, well, we gave her this, and this is going to happen, this could happen. And she was like, well, she don't want to do it, so I guess, we'll just cross that bridge when we get there. And when I heard my mama say that, I instantly passed out. I didn't, after I seen that my mama knew that I meant business, that, like, this is not something that I wanted to do, for the first time during this whole situation of not knowing what was going on, or not knowing what I wanted, or if I wanted this, like, I knew, like, I couldn't do this. So that made me feel, I guess I was at peace, that my mama really heard me, and seeing that I was serious about me not wanting to do this. Like, I feel like even if that's something I wanted, whatever that voice was like, no, this not what we doing. So, again, I passed out. I didn't wake up until I got home. When I got home and I finally, did wake up, the medication wore off. He was there, and I noticed, like, on his face is like this look, like, I'm not sure, to this day, I'm not sure if, like, he wasn't able to get his money back, or how that worked, or was he was he, upset because I decided to keep the baby, and this meant that he had to be held accountable, and he didn't want that. Whatever the case might be, I could tell on his face that he wasn't happy. But even me deciding to keep my baby, I still wasn't sure what that was gonna look like in terms of I'm only in the sixth or seventh grade at the time. It was the pressure of like what my friends would think, and my grandmother, my aunt and them, they still mad at me or looking at me, in some type of way. So it just was a lot of different emotions. The process of the pregnancy. Come back for part 4.
For the brother to have more sense than a mama is crazy.
Part 4 of did my mama sell me to a 27-year-old man when I was 14 for drugs. So now I decided to keep my baby. I remember being at school one day, and I had to use the restroom, and I'm sitting on the toilet, and I'm noticing there's pressure, at the very bottom of my stomach, and I remember trying to like pick my stomach or push my stomach, and this feeling of heaviness, it just wouldn't go away, and I'm like, the fact that the feeling of heaviness wouldn't go away, I couldn't massage it, I couldn't move it. It just kind of like gave me like a sense of panic almost. I now know that was like the baby growing and forming, or whatever. But I just remember that feeling like it was yesterday. So like a couple months or something went by, and he got somewhere for us to stay. When I moved in with him, it was like I was dealing with grown women coming at me that he was messing with or dealing with. Women coming in the house, stealing, all kind of stuff was going on. And I was almost like, this a lot. I went back home to my grandmother's house for a few days, and this is when other stuff started to spiral out of control. I started hanging out, with a crowd of people where I was getting into a lot of trouble. You name it, I claim it. Like, out here just doing all kind of stuff that could have possibly caused me to lose my life. That's a whole nother story, time for later. But I started to see like this baby had to be something to teach me a lesson, as far as having something to want to stop doing what I was doing out here in the street now. Because now I guess I feel like I was grown, and certain things I wasn't able to do. I was not able to do this because now I was looked upon as if I was grown. I remember one time catching him. I got a job at McDonald's. I remember he came and told me, look, I got to go out of town. I'm not going to be home, so just go ahead and stay at your grandma's house, and I'll call you when I get back. And I was like, okay. After I finished my shift, something just tell me, I had my cousin to take me by the apartment, and I see his car there. So I'm like, maybe he haven't left yet, but that was hours ago. He told me, like 8 hours ago, he said he was leaving. So I had my cousin to go ahead and pull up to the apartment. I pulled up to the apartment, and the mirror tint, from the air blowing so cold, it would be real foggy on the windows. I'm like, he had to just get out the car. Yeah, he had to have just got out the car. So I go up to the door. I'm knocking on the door. Nobody says nothing. So I get real quiet, and then I can hear like commotion in the house, like with somebody creeping, and you can hear the bones popping and all that stuff. So I'm hearing movement. I'm hearing bone popping, and I'm like, what you doing? I thought you said I'm talking through the door. So I guess finally he got tired of me, like, raising my voice through the door. And he came open the door, and the first thing he said was like, why are you over here? Didn't I tell you I didn't want to be with you no more? You looking desperate coming over here chasing me when I told you I didn't want to be with you no more. And I'm looking like,
what the hell? Like, you never told me that. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, what's going on? And he's like, get the fuck from around here, this, that, and the third. And at this time, I'm like, no, what's going on? So the girl, I could see her, like, going behind him, like, to the other room. So I'm like, why would you do me like that? Like, what's going on? Like, what did I do to you? And I'm trying to still push in the house, and he literally fighting me to keep me from going inside. So at this time, I'm hurt. My little heart just broke in 1,000,000 pieces, and I'm falling to the ground. I'm crying, and I'm like, why would you do me like this? And my cousin's like, man, please, cuz, get up. He's like, man, no. He's like, man, why you doing that to him, man? He like, get up, cuz, don't worry about it. It's gonna be okay. I'm like, no, it's not. Why would he do me like that? He finally got me up and took me back to my grandma's house, and I'm sitting outside and I'm crying and I'm talking to my grandma, and I'm like, Grandma, I can't do this. Like, it's just so much going on. Like, I don't want to be with that man. Like, I don't want to deal with none of that. And she looked at me and she said, well, baby, all I can tell you is you laid down and had that baby like you was a woman, and now you're gonna have to let that man stay with that man, let that man raise that baby and take care of that baby, because I can't afford to take care of no more kids. And I was like, I honestly felt like that day something broke inside of me, because I was expecting to hear, well, you don't got to deal with that. You don't have to stay there. Like, come on, I got you. I didn't hear that, and that shattered me in ways like I just never understood. Like, why would that be the scenario? Because I got pregnant. And mind you, out of this whole process, I never told anybody exactly how me and this man became sexually active with each other. I never thought to even mention it. So while a lot of people was thinking, oh, you was out here just being fat, nobody knew that my mama introduced me to this man. Nobody knew that he pushed himself on me and did what he felt like he wanted to do. Nobody knew this. So sometimes I kind of think, like, I wonder would it have been different if I would have thought to tell my grandmother, like, well, I didn't ask for this, like, I didn't sign up for this. This was never my, this was never my mission to go and sought after this man. And, my mama introduced me to this man. Like, I never thought to say that. So, there's just a question that I'll probably always have. But what I've come to realize now is that a lot of people, like from my grandmother's time, that's just how it was. You did this, you gotta stay and you gotta rock out with it. But yeah,
I'm dropping these stories because it's not about clicks and likes. I'm doing this, but so many people have reached out to me saying, don't post, let the momentum build before you post. And it's not about that. It's not about the clicks, the likes, or the friend. It's not about none of that. This is me posting this is about freedom for me. This is about taking my power back. This is about the raggedy cape I've worn for years, trying to protect and save people that at the time I don't feel like, had my best interest in mind. They didn't save me. They didn't protect me. This is because I know it's so many other young girls that's either being pushed to grown men because of poverty, the money, all that stuff, and it affects you in so many negative ways. I see my cousins that I grew up with at senior trips, they get to take the senior trips. They get to do all the things that, that's milestones in your life. I missed all of that because I was sitting at home raising a child. I was sitting at home living a life of a adult when I was only still a baby. So this is for me. But I was so, for years I held on to this. Protecting him too, protecting my mom, protecting my grandmother, and not want my son to feel some type of way towards his daddy. I never wanted him to feel negatively like a year ago, I wound up talking to my son, and I explained to him everything. I couldn't, I wanted him to know. I told him, son, I need to get free from this. I need to be able to express and release what I've been holding for so long. I explained to him that although how he, the conception and all of that, but my son saved my life. God blessed me with you. That to this day, that's my rider. I couldn't imagine my life without my son, but I needed to get free of this. I needed to be able to, move past that chapter of holding on for so much. I believe that's where my starting point was for storing stuff and feeling like I had to downplay situations so that nobody else got, was made out or looked out to be the bad guy. So that's what this is about. Freedom. Being free, not holding on. What happened, happened. I can't change it. I can't take it back. He can't either. But I can release the trauma that I've been holding for all these years.
I'm happy she used this platform to basically, get her story out, release all the hurt, pain, frustration she had to deal with all them years of only knowing the truth that her mother made her do something. Her mother hooked her up with this grown man. Her mother probably got money for hooking her up with this grown man. I'm happy that she's able to get her trauma out. I was also happy that she was able to talk to her son about this situation, because I'm pretty sure keeping it away from him to protect other people's peace, she wasn't protecting her, mental state. And I'm glad that she was able to talk about it. But let's talk about it. Back in the day, our grandparents, great-grandparents, the women definitely dealt with a lot of stuff, and they decided to stay. And now this generation ain't trying to have it. Men or women ain't trying to have it. Like they ready to go at the end of the day, no matter what they started, what they created, because it's not good to stay. It just don't do nothing but add more toxic stuff, more heartache and pain, not only for them, but for the children that are involved. So at the end of the day, like, this generation is just doing things different. And that's why we don't now understand our grandparents and great-grandparents and stuff like that, is because we got to think, back in the day, they just was told the same thing and thought that this is how life's supposed to be. So yeah, like, that is a major thing to keep in at 14, that your mother hooked you up with this grown man and had to be told by the grandmother, you lay down and wanted to be grown, now you got to deal with the consequences, all while not telling your grandmother what her daughter really did and how you were forced in the beginning to do this situation. And sometimes, like, they probably still wouldn't understand. They probably still feel like, oh, because you got a baby, you grown. But is that really true? Like, having a baby at 14 doesn't make you grown. It just confirmed that you was doing grown folks stuff at the age of 14. And sometimes you got to think, like, sit them down and ask them, why do they think that this type of stuff is okay? Like, have a conversation. But you guys, drop down in the comment section what you think about this story. Don't forget to join the family by subscribing if you are new here. If you are returning, you know how we like to do it. Like, comment, and share this video. And I hope you all have a blessed day. Peace.